There are places humans were never meant to enter, places that don't welcome the living. Tonight, I will tell you a story, not a legend, not a movie, but a nightmare tied to a house that should have remained empty. In a remote village, a family moved into an old house. It was cheap, too cheap. They believed they were lucky. It was a fresh start, a chance to escape the city and find peace. But the house they chose had other plans. It had been waiting, silent for years, hungry for the warmth of new life to disrupt its cold, deep slumber. The first nights were quiet, too quiet. Then, the sounds began, soft at first, easy to dismiss. A floorboard creaking upstairs when everyone was downstairs. A faint whisper carried on the draft from an old window. But soon, the noises grew bolder. Footsteps pacing in the hallway when no one was awake. The distinct, unnerving sound of scratching behind the walls, as if something was desperately trying to get in or out. Every night, at exactly 3 a.m., the house came alive. It was no longer just sounds. The real performance began. Doors would unlatch and swing open on their own. Lights would flicker erratically, plunging rooms into darkness and then blinding light. And the air, it became heavy, cold, and impossible to breathe, thick with a presence that choked the very oxygen from their lungs. This was the witching hour, and the house was putting on its show. They never saw a face, only a shadow, a tall, impossibly thin silhouette that defied the laws of light and physics. It would appear at the end of a long hallway, or standing motionless in the corner of a room, just on the edge of their vision. It never moved, never made a sound. It was just there, standing, watching, waiting. Its presence was a constant, suffocating weight, a silent promise of something terrible yet to come. Sleep disappeared entirely. Fear replaced time. The days were spent in anxious dread, and the nights were spent in pure terror. Every room felt wrong, hostile. The chairs felt like they had just been sat in. The mirrors felt like they were watching back. It became painfully clear the house didn't just have a draft or old pipes. The house didn't want them there. It was actively trying to push them out. Desperate, they searched for answers, digging into the town's history, looking for any clue that could explain the nightmare they were living. And they found the truth, buried in old town records and whispered rumors from the few elderly locals willing to speak. The house wasn't just old. It was tied to ancient, dark rituals, black magic, sacrifices practiced on that very land long before the first foundation stone was ever laid. The story became clearer. The previous owners had all left suddenly. Some had simply vanished without a trace, their belongings left behind. Others who moved away refused to ever speak of their time in the house, their faces pale with a terror that never left them. The house was never abandoned. It was avoided. It was a known wound in the heart of the village, a place left to fester in its own malevolence. One night, the fear became unbearable. The shadow was no longer content to just watch from a distance. It was closer. The whispers had formed a single, guttural word they couldn't understand but felt in their bones. They knew if they stayed another night, they wouldn't be leaving in the morning. They packed nothing. They grabbed their children and ran to the car, never once looking back. To this day, no one lives in that house. The village avoids it like a plague. The windows remain dark. The garden is overgrown, and an unnerving silence hangs over the property. No lights are ever seen. No visitors ever approach. It sits alone, a dark monument to the pain it holds within its walls. Some places remember pain. Some places remember blood. And some places do not forgive the living. If a place ever makes you feel unwanted, leave immediately. This has been Nightmare Case Files. Thanks for watching.